On the occasion of the centenary of the CPC, held its 6th plenary session at the critical juncture where the time frames of the two centenary goals converge, on the occasion of this meeting is one of great significance. And the plenary session has concluded all the agenda items, the time frames of the two centenary goals converge, and considered and adopted the great resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century. And considered and today we have with us resolution leading officials of relevant departments to brief on the decisions and guidelines of the 6th plenary session, explain the content of the resolution. Today we have with us answer your questions. Officials of relevant departments present at the press conference decisions and guidelines of the 6th plenary session. Explain the content of the resolution. Mr. Wang Xiaohui, Executive Vice Minister of the Publicity Department of the CPC Central Committee. Mr. Jiang Jinquan, Director of the Policy Research Office of the CPC Central Committee. Wang Xiaohui, Executive Vice Minister of the Publicity Department of the CPC Central Committee. Mr. Han Wenxiu, Executive Vice Minister of the Office of the Central Financial and Economic Affairs Commission of the CPC Central Committee, and Mr. Chu Qingshan, Director of the Institute of Party History and Literature of the CPC Central Committee. Now I'll hand over to Mr. Wang Xiaohui for opening remarks. The CPC Central Committee, and from the press, Director of the Institute. It is a great pleasure to give you a briefing on the 6th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee. The 19th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China convened its 6th plenary session in Beijing from November the 8th to the 11th CPC Central Committee. It lasts 4 days. The 19th Central Committee of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee presided over the plenary session in Beijing from November the 8th to the 11th. Plenary session heard and discussed the report on the work of the Political Bureau presented by General Secretary Xi Jinping on behalf of the Political Bureau, and considered and adopted the resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century, and the resolutions on the convocation of 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China. General Secretary Xi Jinping and historical experience of the party delivered explanatory remarks on the draft resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century, and made an important address. The session successfully completed all items on the agenda. At the session, the Central Committee fully affirmed the work that its Political Bureau has carried out since the 5th plenary session of the 19th Central Committee. It was unanimously agreed that in the face of stern challenges and formidable tasks, the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, has given full consideration to both the broad strategic goal of national rejuvenation and the profound changes unseen in a century in the world, followed the prevailing trend of the times, maintained strategic initiatives, and delivered on a string of major overarching undertakings that are deeply encouraging, resolutely overcome the many risks and challenges, and scored proud achievement in the cause of the party and the people. The hearts and minds of the party, the military, and the people are more united than ever before. What has happened proves that to establish Comrade Xi Jinping's core position on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and to define the guiding role of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, represents the common aspiration of the whole party, the whole military and Chinese people of all ethnic groups, and it is of decisive significance for advancing the cause of the party and the country in the new era, and for driving forward the historic process of great national rejuvenation. The participants all agree that with the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core charting the course and taking the helm, and with the solidarity of the whole party, whole military, and Chinese people, no obstacle or hardship is able to hold back the marching forward of the Chinese people, and no risk or challenge is able to hold back the historic process of the great national rejuvenation. The most important outcome of the plenary session is the consideration and adoption of the resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century. On the occasion of the centenary of our party, The Central Committee held its 6th plenary session to have a comprehensive summary of the major achievements and historical experience gained throughout the 100-year struggle. It is a solemn, historic, and strategic decision that reflects our party's high political awareness of attaching great importance to and fully applying the historical laws, and demonstrates our party's confidence and sense of responsibility in keeping to its founding mission and building on past achievements to usher in a new future. Over the course of the CPC's 100-year history, the 7th plenary session of the 6th Central Committee in 1945 formulated the resolution on certain issues in the history of the party, and the 6th plenary session of the 11th Central Committee formulated the resolution on certain questions in the history of a party since the founding of the PRC. The two resolutions are different in terms of their historical conditions and context and the issues they aim to address, but both are formulated at major historical junctures, and both have played an important role in advancing the cause of the party and the people. Now, 76 years have passed since the formulation of the first historical resolution, and 40 years have transpired since the second one. Over the past 4 decades, the cause of the party and country has greatly moved forward. So has the theory and practice of the party resolution, and standing at a summary of the 100-year journey of the party, especially of the 40-plus years since the start of the reform and opening up, is both an objective necessity and has subjective conditions. The resolution adopted by the plenary session has 7 parts. Its content highlights 2 priorities. First, different from the previous 2 resolutions, which mainly summarize the historical lessons of the party and make a distinction between right and wrong, the resolution focuses on summarizing the major achievements and historical experience in the party's 100-year journey. The main consideration is that between the party's founding and the early days of reform and opening up, the major issues of right and wrong in the party's history have been basically settled by the previous 2 historical resolutions. The basic characterization and conclusions still apply today. Since the start of reform and opening up, despite some questions in the work of the party, overall, the cause of the party and country has had smooth development, the direction has been correct, and the achievements have been remarkable. The resolution's primary focus is summarizing the major achievements and historical experience of the party's 100-year struggle. This is in keeping with reality and will help to increase the wisdom, enhance solidarity, and boost confidence and morale across the party. Second, for the history of the party during the new democratic revolution and the period of socialist revolution and construction, the 2 previous resolutions have had systemic summary. For the historical achievements and experience gained during the new historical period of reform and opening up, systemic summaries have been made on the 20th, 30th, and 40th anniversary of the 3rd plenary session of the 11th CPC Central Committee. Thus, the resolution is focused on summarizing the historical achievements, the transformational practices, original thought, breakthrough, and signature achievements since the 18th CPC National Congress. This will better guide the whole party and Chinese people of all ethnic groups to reaffirm confidence, focus on what we are doing now, and embark on a new journey and make new contributions in the new era with greater pride. The Central Committee also made another important decision at the session. That is, the CPC will convene its 20th National Congress in Beijing in the second half of 2022. This Congress, which is to be held at an important time frame when the party has embarked on a new journey to build a modern socialist country in all respects and to realize the second centenary goal, will be a highly important meeting and will be an event of great political significance for both the party and the country. The plenary session called upon the party organizations at all levels and the entire party membership to rally more closely around the Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, to surmount difficulties, forge ahead so as to make new and greater contributions toward building a modern socialist country in all respects, securing great success for socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era, and realizing the great national rejuvenation, and to ensure that excellent results are achieved by the time the 20th CPC National Congress is convened. The 6th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee is one of major historical significance, held at a major historical juncture. The resolution adopted at the session crystallizes the party's struggle, sacrifice, and creation over the past 100 years as it pursues the founding mission of seeking happiness for the Chinese people and rejuvenation for the Chinese nation. It lays out profound answers to the questions why we were successful in the past and how we can continue to succeed in the future. We're confident that this plenary session will have a major, far-reaching impact on enhancing the unity in thinking, will, and actions within the party, rallying the leading Chinese of all ethnic groups to learn from history, work hard, and forge ahead for a better future, and better upholding and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. That concludes my briefing. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wang Xiaohui. Now, the floor is open to questions. Please identify your media affiliation before asking a question. We have many foreign reporters present today. The press conference is conducted with simultaneous interpretation. Questions raised in English will be interpreted consecutively into Chinese. With CCTV, according to the communique of the plenary session, establishing Comrade Xi Jinping's core position on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and defining the guiding role of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is of decisive significance for the development of the cause of the party and for advancing the historic process of the great national rejuvenation. How are we to understand the decisive significance? I'm very glad to answer this question. Establishing Comrade Xi Jinping's core position on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and defining the guiding role of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is of decisive significance for advancing the cause of the party and the country and in the new era, and for driving forward the historic process of national rejuvenation. There is sufficient basis in practice. That is, since the 18th CPC's National Congress, the historical achievements and transformations in the cause of the party and country are fundamentally a result of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core charting the course. That is the shared aspiration of the whole party and people. There is also sufficient basis in theory. That is, a strong leadership core and sound guiding theories are of fundamental importance to the future of the party and country and to the success of the cause of our party and people. For a country and a political party, the leadership core is of vital importance. Comrade Deng Xiaoping once keenly observed that any leading group should have a core, and leading without a core is unreliable. For a big party which has a membership of over 95 million, and for China, a big country with 56 ethnic groups and 1.4 billion people, it would be unimaginable had there not been a core of the Party Central Committee and of the whole party. There will be a lack of cohesion and nothing can be accomplished. Only when there is a core of the Party Central Committee and of the whole party can the party have strength. Since the 18th National Congress, General Secretary Xi Jinping, with profound care of the people, extraordinary political wisdom, and strong sense of responsibility, has led the whole party and Chinese across the country in historic the new socialism historic transformation and of a prosperity in on the China. General Secretary the call is well to establish General Secretary Xi's core position on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole is the call of the times, the choice of history, and the aspiration of the people. By firmly supporting and upholding General Secretary Xi's core position, the whole party will have an anchor, the entire Chinese people will have a backbone, and the giant vessel of China's rejuvenation will have a steady hand on the tiller. No matter what choppy waves we might encounter, we will always be able to stay calm and composed. Only when political parties follow sound theories can it embrace the power of truth. Only when a cause follows the guidance of sound theories can it enjoy a bright future. Over the past 100 years, our party has been able to accomplish the formidable tasks that other political forces are not able to, and secured one victory after another in the struggles against various political forces as well as difficulties and challenges. The fundamental reason is that we have adapted the basic principles of Marxism to the Chinese reality and to China's fine traditional culture, and continuously pushed forward innovation in theories and are good at guiding new practices with new theories. Since the 18th National Congress, with a keen understanding of the dynamics and pulse of the times and staying on top of the trend, General Secretary Xi Jinping, with extraordinary courage in theory, has put forth a string of original strategic thoughts and innovative philosophy and established the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. This important thought is the Marxism of contemporary China and of the 21st century. It embodies the best of the Chinese culture and ethos in our times and has provided a solid guide to action for advancing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. By establishing the guiding role of the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, our party is able to, in the context of the complex and deep interplay of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation and once in a century changes in the world, keep to the right direction, break waves and stay on the right course, stay on top of the logic behind development and plan the development of our cause and address risks and challenges with a sound outlook of the world and methodology, and lead people to continuously open up brighter projects for the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation.
Xinhua News Agency. The communique pointed out that Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era achieved a new breakthrough in adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. How should we understand this new breakthrough? Mr. Wang Xiaohui, please. As we all know, the Communist Party of China is a party that attaches great importance to theoretical guidance. The new summarization and elaboration of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is a significant highlight of the resolution as well as a major contribution of the plenum. As you may have noticed, the communique pointed out that Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is contemporary Chinese Marxism and 21st century Marxism, and the essence of Chinese culture and Chinese spirit of our times. It achieved a new breakthrough in adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. I believe this was give a scientific elaboration on the theoretic content and major significance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and mark its important position in the development history of Marxism and the development history of the Chinese culture. I think we can take the following three-step perspectives. First, this thought gives profound answer to the major questions of the new era. Since the 18th Party Congress, General Secretary Xi Jinping made deep-going consideration and scientific assessment on a series of major theoretical and practical issues concerning the development of the endeavors of the party and the country, thoroughly reviewed and fully applied the historical experience gained since the founding of the party, proceeded from the new realities, and gave profound answers to the major questions of our times, namely, what kind of socialism with Chinese characteristics we should uphold and develop in this new era, what kind of great modern socialist country we should build, and what kind of Marxist Party exercising long-term governance we should develop, as well as how we should go about achieving these tasks. And founded Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. This thought has given a lot of important guiding new ideas on Marxism and Marxist political economics, and realized a new elevation of Marxism, draws a new blueprint for China-style modernization path, and broke new ground in party discipline and prosperity. Second, this thought puts forward a series of original new concepts, new thoughts, and new strategies in governance. The resolution, on the basis of the 8 clear definitions laid out in the report to the 19th Party Congress, put forward another 10 clear definitions as further summarization of the core content of the thought. The resolution also summarized the achievements of the endeavors of the party and the country in the new era in 13 sectors and highlighted the original thoughts. For example, on committing to socialism with Chinese characteristics, it expressed that leadership of the CPC is the most essential feature of socialism with Chinese characteristics and the biggest strength of the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics. Made the scientific assessment of the change of China's major social contradiction in the new era, stressed the importance to uphold and improve the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics and advance the modernization of the system and capacity of state governance, and on fully building a modern socialist country, it put forward the strategic arrangement of two-step approach to fully building a great modern socialist country, stressed that China's modernization is about a large population, the common prosperity of all, coordination between material and cultural progresses, harmonious coexistence between man and nature, and a path of peaceful development. On comprehensively enforcing strict party discipline, it expressed that the key to running China's affairs well lies in the party and in party governance and comprehensive and strict party discipline, stressed that the party's political work should play the leading role, and underlined the need to profoundly advance anti-corruption struggle, implement the political responsibilities of party governance and discipline, and lead the great social revolution with the great self-reform. These strategic thoughts and innovative concepts give brand new perspectives into the laws governing the Communist Party's governance, development of socialism, and development of the human society, and are the latest outcomes of adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. Third, this thought is the essence of Chinese culture and the Chinese spirit of our times. Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era is deeply rooted in the Chinese culture, draws nutrition from the profound philosophical thoughts, humanist spirit, and moral ethics of all-covering fine traditional Chinese culture, and is a glorious example of a creative transformation and innovative development of the fine traditional Chinese culture. It deeply reflects the dreams and pursuits of the Chinese nation since ancient times, particularly the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, the greatest dream since modern times. It is a crystallization of the Chinese people's great spirit of creation, great spirit of struggle, great spirit of solidarity, and great spirit of dream. It has powerful historical penetration force, cultural moving force, and spiritual inspiring force. Effectively activated the vitality of fine traditional Chinese culture and breathed new vitality into Marxism on the vast land of China. In short, Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era features complete system, rigorous features a combination of major theoretical outcomes of Marxism with Chinese realities and fine traditional Chinese culture, an important theoretical crystallization of the party's historical achievements and historical transformations since the 18th National Congress, and realized the historical leap and creative elevation of adapting Marxism to the Chinese context. Nippon News Network. The resolution on the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century was deliberated and adopted at the 6th plenum. What is the significance of the 6th plenum's deliberation on this resolution? What would be the influence? Mr. Ju Qingshan, please. Thank you, and I will take this question. The resolution was deliberated and adopted by the 6th plenum of the 19th CPC Central Committee at an important historical moment of the party's 100th anniversary and an important historical juncture of the party uniting and leading the people to successfully complete the first centenary goal and complete the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects, and marching toward the second centenary goal of fully building a great modern socialist country. The resolution reflects the wisdom of the entire party, gives a comprehensive review of the major achievements and historical experience of the party over the past century, particularly of the historical achievements and historical transformation in the endeavors of the party and the country since the 18th Party Congress, fully demonstrating the party's superior political wisdom and sense of responsibility, and the party's high level of historical awareness and historical confidence. Our party is a Marxist political party that sets great store by and excels at summarizing historical experience. At every important historical moment and major historical juncture, our party reviews the history, summarizes experience, and draws wisdom and strength from history for future progress. Just now, as was mentioned by Minister Wang, he mentioned that in the party's century-long history, in 1945, the party formulated the resolution on several historical issues, and in 1981, the resolution on several historical issues since the founding of the People's Republic of China. Two resolutions that played important roles in advancing and guiding the endeavors of the party. And the resolution adopted at this plenum is the third historical resolution of the party. And I believe, just like the previous two resolutions, will play an important role in helping uniting the theory, will, and action of the party, learning the experience from the history to achieve future progress, and in realizing the second centenary goal and the Chinese dream of great national rejuvenation. If I were to give the resolution an overall assessment and positioning, maybe I can do that in 3 sentences. First, it is a guideline document of Marxism. Second, it is a political proclamation of the Chinese Communists, staying committed to the original aspiration and founding mission and upholding and developing socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era. And third, it is the action guide on learning from history to create a bright future and realizing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. To be more specific, I think the resolution has the following profound and far-reaching significance and impacts. Let me share with you 3 points. First, the resolution makes in-depth summarization of the great journey of the party uniting and leading the people from one victory to another over the past century, educates and guides the entire party to have a profound understanding of the challenges we overcame for the Red regime, for New China, and for socialism with Chinese characteristics, and enhances the courage and strength to continue to march forward. On the new journey, we face both rare development opportunities and many severe and complex risks and challenges, which require us to use the party's major achievements and historical experience to boost morale, chart the course, pool strength, and firm up conviction. Uphold and develop socialism with Chinese characteristics, with unmatched enthusiasm, and strive to secure a new victory in fully building a modern socialist country. Second, the resolution makes in-depth summarization of the growth trajectory of the party from infancy to what it is now in 100 years, educates and guides the entire party to have a profound understanding of the importance of enhancing the party's political work, enhances the commitment and awareness of upholding the party's solidarity and unity. On the new journey, to realize the second centenary goal, we must uphold and carry forward the historical experience of upholding the Central Committee's authority and its centralized unified leadership, particularly the new experience since the 18th Party Congress. Strengthen our consciousness of the need to maintain political integrity, think in big picture terms, follow the leadership core, and keep in alignment with the Central Party leadership. Enhance our confidence in the path, theory, system, and culture. Resolutely uphold Comrade Jinping's call, position on the Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and uphold the Central Committee's authority and its centralized unified leadership. Under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Jinping at the core, we will rally the entire party like a piece of unbreakable iron and march forward in lockstep. Third, the resolution makes in-depth summarization of the party's vivid practice over the past 100 years in strengthening, developing itself, and advancing self-reform, educates and guides the entire party to have a profound understanding of the importance of comprehensively strengthening party discipline, and ensures that our party always remains the strong leadership core of the endeavor of socialism with Chinese characteristics. On the new journey, the exam is far from being finished. and the party has a long way to go.
这就需要我们深刻的汲取
We must draw historical experience from the party's efforts to strengthening self-development, maintaining vanguard nature and purity, and raising leadership level and governance capacity, keep elevating the party's capacity to respond to risks and challenges, maintain vigor and vitality, uniting and leading the people of all ethnic groups in making continued efforts to realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. So this is my answer to your question. Thank you.
好，中区第4排这位女士。
谢谢。光明日报记者提问：从全会公报
From
中
Guangming Daily,
总结
we
新
can
时代
see
成
that
就和
when
经验
reviewing
时
the achievements
对文
and
化
experience
建
of the
设
new
单独做
era,
了总结。
the communique
强调
dedicated a
党的
part
十
of
八
it
大以来，
specifically
我国
to
意
the
识
development
形
of
态的
culture,
形式发生
emphasizing
全体
that
性
there has
根
been a
本性
sweeping and
转变
fundamental shift in
全
the
党
ideological
全国
domain,
各族人
a
民
notable
文
boost
化
in
自信
confidence in
明
our
显
culture
增
among
强
all party
请
members
介绍一
and
下
Chinese
这方
people.
面的有关
Could you elaborate on that?
我们请王晓辉先生回答。
这个众所周知啊，文化是一个国家
As we
一
know,
个民族的灵魂。
Culture is the soul of a
应该
country
说，党的18
and a
大以
nation.
来，
Since the 18th National
以习
Congress,
近平同志为核心的党
the
中央
CPC Central
高度重视
Committee,
文
with
化建
Comrade
设，
Xi Jinping at its core,
特别
has
是把
placed
文化
high
自信
importance on the
和
development
道
of
路自
culture.
信、理
It
论
has
自信，
juxtaposed
制度自
confidence
信
in culture
并
with
列为中国
confidence
特
in
色社
path,
会主义的
theory,
4个自信
and。system, characterizing them
紧
as
紧围绕建
confidence
设
in
社
four
会主义
aspects.
文化强国这个目
With a
标，
view to building a socialist
围绕
country
举
strong in
旗
its
帜、
culture,
聚民
it
心、
strives to
育
hold the
新
banner,
人、
rally the
兴
people,
文化、展
cultivate
形
the new
象的
generation,
使命任
develop
务，
the culture, and present
推
a
动文化
better
建设
image.
取得了
Historic
重大的
achievements
历史
have
性
been
成
made
就。
in cultural development.
如果梳理一下
More
进入新时
specifically,
代文化建设的成就，
there are a few points
我觉得
I'd
主要
like
包括
to
这么几个方面。
highlight.
第一，习近平新时代
First,
中国特色社
Xi
会主义
Jinping's
思想
thought on
深入人
socialism
心。
with Chinese characteristics for a
我
new
们始
era
终坚
has
持
increased
马
in
克思
public
主义
appeal.
在意识
We have
形态领
stayed
域指
committed
导地
to
位
Marxism
这一
as a
根本
guiding
制度，
ideology, which is
这也
of
是我们
fundamental
文化领域的根本
importance
制度。
in our cultural
我们
sector.
深入开展习近平新
For
时
more
代中
in-depth
国特色
study
社会主义思
of
想的
Xi
学习
Jinping's
教
thought
育，
on socialism with Chinese
编辑出
characteristics
版
for a new
习
era,
近平
we have
谈治国
edited
理政
and published books
习
and
近平
additional
新时
readings,
代中国
including
特色
Xi
社会主义
Jinping,
思
The
想
Governance
学
of
习纲
China,
要和学习
Study
问答
Outline,
等
and
一
Question
系
and
列的
Answers
权
on
威
Xi
著
Jinping's
作
thought
和
on
辅导读
socialism
本，
with Chinese characteristics
建
for
好
a new
用
era.
好新时代
We
文
have
明实
built
践中
and made
心、
good use of
县级
centers for
融媒体
cultural
中心
development in the new
和
era,
学习强国学
county
习
level
平台，
media convergence centers,
坚持不
and the
懈用
platforms
科学
such
理
as
论武装全党，
学习.cn,
教
also
育人
known
民。
as 学习强国.
广大干部
We
群
continue to
众
arm the whole
对这
party
一思
with
想
and
理解
introduce our
更加
people
深入，
to sound
践
theories
行
which have
也更加
helped
自觉。
government officials and the general public
第二，
gain a
主
deeper
流思
understanding
想
of
舆
this
论
thought
持
and
续
encourage
巩
them
固
to
壮
act
大。
accordingly.
我们坚持
Second,
团结稳定鼓劲，
Mainstream
正面
thought and
跟团为
narratives
主。
continue to be
围
consolidated and
绕中国
amplified.
共产
We are
党成立
committed to
100周
unity
年
and，stability, to
中华
making
人民共和
encouragements
国
and
成立
focusing on
70周年，
communicating positive
改革
elements.
开
On
放
the occasion
40
of
周
historic
年等
junctures
重
such as
大历
the
史节
centenary
点，
of the founding of
隆
CPC,
重
the
组织
70th
系列
anniversary of the
庆祝和纪
establishment
念活
of the
动，
PRC, and the 40th
聚焦
anniversary
决
of
胜
reform
全
and
面建
opening
成
up.
小康
We
社会，
organize a series of
决胜
celebratory
脱贫
and
攻坚，
commemorative events.
抗
We
击
have
新
poured our
冠
heart
肺炎疫
into
情
covering and
等
highlighting
重大
major
决策部
decisions
署，
regarding the building of
精
a
心组织系列
moderately
的
prosperous
重大
society,
主题宣
poverty
传，
alleviation, and
在
COVID
全党
response,
全社
in
会
an
营
effort
造了
to
爱党、
create a
爱
social
国、
atmosphere
爱社会
where
主义的
love of the
浓厚
love
氛
of the
围。
party, love of the country, and love of
第三
socialism
是社会主义
prevails.
核心价值观
Third,
广为弘扬，
Core socialist
我
values
们坚
have
持
been
以社会
carried
主义核
forward.
心价值观引领文化建设，
Development of culture
广
is
泛开
guided
展中
by
国特
core
色社会主
socialist
义和
values.
中
We
国
have
梦的
championed
宣传教育，
socialism with
持
Chinese
续深化
characteristics
群
and
众
the
性
Chinese
精神文明
dream,
创建，
deepened the campaign
大
to
力培
improve
育时代新
public
人，
etiquette
弘
and
扬
ethical
时代新
standards,
风，
work to cultivate the new
特别作用
generation
发挥
and promote
榜样
good
引
and
领作用，
up-to-date practices and
为
trends.
英雄模范
In an
颁
effort
授
to set
党和
better
国家功
examples,
勋
we
荣
have
誉，
awarded heroes and role
评选
models
表彰一
with
大
party
批
or state
道德
honors,
模范、
recognized
时
a
代
group of
楷
role
模
models of the
和最美
times
人
of moral high standards
形成了
and
见
applauded
贤
them
思齐、
as the most
统
beautiful
德向
people.
善、
By doing so, we have shaped a good environment where role models are emulated, moral standards elevated, and more people step forward to become vanguards. Fourth, people's cultural needs are better met. With a people-centered approach, we endeavor to promote the growth of art and literature. A number of popular movies and TV series were filmed, including My People, My Country, The Battle at Lake Changjin, The Age of Awakening, and Minning Town. Efforts are also made to advance both urban and rural public cultural services, delivering benefits to the people through cultural development. We have taken creative steps to adapt and develop traditional Chinese culture by building national cultural parks on the basis of or inspired by the Great Wall, the Grand Canal, the Long March, and the Yellow River, etc. All these have provided the people with more substantive and multidimensional cultural experiences. Fifth, China is presented as more credible, lovable, and respectable. To strengthen exchanges and multi-layered civilizational dialogues with the world, we have convened the Conference on Dialogue of Asian Civilizations, organized events such as China Year of Culture, Year of Tourism, Understanding China, Happy Spring Festival, and translation of classic works. We have worked actively to advance multidimensional external communications supported by various pillars. We have promoted cultural exchanges and people-to-people connectivity. We are committed to presenting well China's stories to the world and making its voice heard, which have helped enhance China's impact in the global discourse. The plenary session fully recognized what we have achieved in cultural development and ideological work. It pointed out that since the 18th National Congress, there has been a sweeping and fundamental shift in the ideological domain, a notable boost in confidence in our culture among all party members and Chinese people, and a major increase in cohesiveness throughout society. All of this has provided solid ideological guarantees and powerful inspiration for opening up new horizons for the cause of the party and the country in the new era. Thank you.
请第三排这位女士。
谢谢主持人，我是凤凰卫视记者。中国提出发展
Phoenix TV, China has put forward developing whole process people's democracy, the Western to assess democracy through multi-party, check and balance, and universal suffrage. As for China's whole process people's democracy, how is the degree of democracy tested? To realize common prosperity is now officially on the agenda. Given the slowing economy of China, will there be challenges to realizing common prosperity under growth pressures? How will China realize common prosperity? Thank you.
您的问题涉及到两个方面，建议分别由
Your question is in two
江金泉先
folds.
生和
I will
韩
suggest
文秀
that
先
Mr.
生
Jiang Jinquan and Mr. Han Wenxiu will take your question respectively.
这个发展全过程人民民主啊，是习近平总书记总结中国民
To
主政
develop
治建设的
process
实践。
people's democracy is a proposal put forward by General Secretary Xi Jinping on the basis of summarization of the practice of the development of the system of China. I think this is a very good question that you raised, and I would be more than happy to share with you my views.
民主啊，是全人类的共同价值，
Democracy is a common
也是
value of
中
all
国共产党
humanity
和中国人民。
and a long-standing important commitment of the CPC and the Chinese
我们
people.
党从成立起，
Since the
就
founding
始
of the
终高
party,
人民民主的
it
旗
has
帜。
always upheld the banner of people's
我们党
democracy.
从国内外政治
Our
发展
party
得
has
失中
learned from the success, failure,
深刻认识到，
gain, and loss of
中国的
domestic
政
and
治文
foreign
明
political
和政治
developments
制
that
度
China's political
必须深深扎根于中国社会土壤。
civilization and political system must be deeply rooted in the land of the Chinese society, and that simple duplication of other countries'
甚至
political systems
会把国家
cannot
前
work
途
and
命
even
运
risk
葬送掉，
ruining the future
民主
of the country.
不是西方国家的专利，
Democracy is
更
not
不能由西方国家来定
an
义。
exclusive patent
自说
of
自话。
Western countries, and even less should it
民主
be
的本意
defined or
是人民
dictated
当家
by
作主。
Western countries. Democracy is all about
一
the
些西方
people
国家所
ruling the
引以
country.
为傲的选举民主，实际上
The
是资本
electoral
支配的选
democracy
举，
of Western
是
countries
资本
are
地产的
actually
游戏，
democracy
是有钱人的
ruled
民主，
by
不是
the
真民主。
capital, and they are a game of the rich, not real
同
democracy.
时，世界上民主样式
At the
不
same
可能千
time,
篇一律。
democratic
即使
models
是
of the world
西
cannot
方
be
国
the
之
same.
间，
Even
它
the
的民主制
democratic
度、
forms of
民主
Western
形式
countries
也不是完
are
全相
not
同的。
entirely identical.
用单一的标尺
The
来
practice
衡
to
量
measure the
世界
world's
丰富多
diverse
彩的政治
political
制度，
system with a unified yardstick
用单调的眼
and
光
judge the
审视
humanities'
人类
colorful
五彩
political
缤纷的政治
civilization
文
with
明
a simplistic
本身
perspective
就是不民
is
主的。
in itself undemocratic.
只是说哪个国家的民主好，
As for which country's
哪个国家的
democracy
民
is
主不
good
好
or，bad,
各国人民
the people living
有直接
in
的
that
感受，
country has the most
最有发言
direct
权，
feeling and
而不应
say.
该由外部少数人
And this is not
指手
something
画
to
脚
be
来
judged
评判。
by a handful of people from other countries.
有些西方国家民主呈现了空心化的乱象，连
Some
本
Western
国人
countries are
民
seeing
都
their
越来越不
democracy
满，
being hollowed out and their people
说肆意
becoming
的
more
把自己
and
的
more
所谓民主模式
dissatisfied,
要强加给别的
while
国家，
wantonly impose their
造成
democratic model on
水
other
土不
countries
服。
and
前
brought
些年的颜色革命呢，在那一些国家也
intense
水土不
sufferings
服，
to the people there, like the color
给香港国
revolutions
家人民造成
that
深重灾难和
happened in
痛苦。
previous years.
世界人民已经看得越来越清
This
楚
is
了。
becoming more and more clear to people all over the world.
媒体记者们可能注意到了最近几个数据。
There have been
10月
some
31
numbers
日，
that you may
美国
have
广播公司
taken note of.
公布了最新民调结果，
The ABC released a
全
latest
球
opinion poll
57%
showing
的
that
受访者，
50% of
72%
interviewees
的受访者
globally
认
and
为，
72%
美
in
国
the
不
US
再是民主的良好
believe that the
样板。
US is no longer a good
也是美国的
democratic
另一项民意调查结果显
paradigm.
示，
Another opinion poll
超过
in the US shows
81% 的
that
美国
over
民众
81% of
对美国
Americans
民
are
主
worried
表示担忧。
about US democracy.
与此形成鲜明对比的是，
In stark
也是
comparison,
美国民调机构最新的两个调查结果，
two latest opinion polls by the
中国
US
民众
showed
对中国党
that
和政府的满意度分别为95%、98%。
the Chinese people have
首优首
a
劣，
95%
明眼人
satisfactory
已堪自明。
satisfactory rate for the party and 98% satisfaction for the
美国
government.
将于下月
Any
召集所
clear-eyed
谓民
people
主
will
峰
find it
会，
easy to draw a conclusion.
企图
Recently, the
重振
US put
西方民主。
together a so-called Summit for
在
Democracy
西
with
方
an
国
attempt
家
to revitalize
民主
Western
问题
democracy.
堆积如山的
To
背景
convene
下，
such a summit
召
against
开
the
这次峰
backdrop
会，
of the loads of
简直
problems
是
in
一个
Western
莫大的讽
democracy
刺。目的无非是要打压他国，
is
分
such
解
an
世界，
irony.
把世界
To
划分成两个
convene
阵
such
营。
a summit
或
against
者
the
多个阵
backdrop
营，
of the loads of
结果
problems in
只能
Western
是
democracy
越描越
is just
黑。
the intention
对此
is nothing but
中
bashing
国共
other
产党
countries
和中国
and
人
dividing
民
the world,
始终保持
which
平行的
cannot
头脑。
be achieved. To this,
我
the
们积
CPC
极
and the
学习
Chinese
借
people
鉴
have always
人类
remained
文明的
level-headed.
一
We
切有
actively
益
learn
成
from
果，
all beneficial outcomes of
对
human
欢迎一
civilization
切
and
有
welcome
益的建
all
议
helpful
和
advice
善意
and
的批
kind
评，
criticisms,
但
but
也不接
will
受
never accept
教师爷般颐
condescending
指气使的说教。
lecturing.
民主不是装饰品，
Democracy is
不
not
是用来
an
做摆设
ornament
的，
used just for
而
decorative
是要用来解决
purposes.
人民需要
Rather,
解决的问题
democracy
的。
is about solving issues
一个
faced
国
by
家
the
民
people.
主不民主，
In judging
关
whether
键
a
在于
country is
是不是
democratic
真
or
正
not,
做到了
it is important
人
to
民当
see
家做主。
whether the country is truly run
要
by
看
the
人
people,
民有没有投票
whether the
权，
people have the right to
更
vote,
要看人民
and
有
more
没有广
importantly,
泛的
whether
参
they
与
have
权。
the right to extensive participation.
要看人
It
民
is
在
important
选
to
举
see
过程
what
中得到了什么口头承诺，
promises are made to the people
更
in the
要看
electoral
选
process,
举后
and more
这些
importantly,
承
how
诺
many
实现了
of
多
those
少。
promises are delivered afterwards.
要看
It is
制度和
important
法
to
律
see what
规定了什么样的政
political
治程
procedures
序
and rules
和
are
政治规则，
instituted by a country's
更
systems
要
and
看
laws,
这些
and more
制度和法
importantly,
律
whether
是
these
不是
systems
真
and
正
laws
得
are
到了执
truly
行。
executed.
要看权
It
力
is
运行
important to
规则
see
和程序
whether
是
the
否
rules
民
and
主，
procedures governing the
更要看
exercise of
权
power
力
are
是否真
democratic,
正受
and
到
more
人民的
importantly,
监督和
whether
制
power is
约。
truly under oversight and checks by the people.
如果人民只有在投票的时候
If
被
the
唤醒，
people of a country
投票
are
后
only
就
called
进入了
upon to
休眠
vote and
期，
are forgotten once they have cast
只
their
有竞
votes,
选时
or if the
聆听
people only
天花
hear
乱坠的口号，
high-sounding promises
竞选
during
后
an
就
election
毫无发
campaign
言
and
权。
yet have no say whatsoever
只有拉票
afterwards,
时受宠，
or if the
选举
people are
后
wooed
就
to
被
get
冷
their
落，
votes and are ignored
这样的
once
民主
voting is over,
不是
then
真正的
such
民主。
democracy is not true democracy.
发展社会主义民主政治
To
是我们党的
develop
一贯追求。党的
democratic political system of socialism is a long commitment of the CPC. Since the 18th Party's Congress, The CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core has remained committed to the political development path of socialism with Chinese characteristics and to the integrated advances in party leadership, the running of the country by the people, and law-based governance, resisted the erosion of so-called Western constitutional governance, multi-party rotation, and separation of powers, and embarked on a democratic path of developing whole process people's democracy. China's whole process people's democracy is a complete systemic chain, including electoral democracy, coordination democracy, social democracy, primary level democracy, citizen democracy, and all other elements of democratic politics. It covers democratic election, democratic consultation, democratic decision-making, democratic management, democratic supervision, and all other fields of the democratic process. China's whole process people's democracy is based not only on a full range of institutions and procedures, but also on full participation and practice. It is a democracy of both process and outcome, both procedure and substance. It is both direct and indirect democracy. It is people's democracy in nature and at the same time represents the will of the state. It involves all links of the process and covers all aspects of public life for the entire population. It is the most broad-based, genuine, and effective socialist democracy. With diverse, smooth, and orderly democratic channels, it effectively guarantees the whole population's management of state, social, economic, and cultural affairs through various ways and forms. The Chinese people have a high level of political and systemic confidence, and the fundamental reason is that China's whole process people's democracy is a democracy that has a high volume of democracy and rich content of democracy and is deeply welcomed by the Chinese people. And this is true people's democracy. Thank you. On common prosperity, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that we need to advance common prosperity in the course of high-quality development. This points the way for realizing common prosperity. To advance common prosperity, resolving development issues comes first, and distribution is also important, but we cannot rely on distribution only to realize common prosperity. China's per capita GDP has exceeded $10,000, but has yet to reach high-income countries' levels. Even if all wealth is equally redistributed, we can still not realize common prosperity. To achieve common prosperity, there is no shortcut or magic. We must rely on the hard work of the 1.4 billion plus Chinese people. First, common prosperity requires high-quality development. China remains the world's largest developing country and still needs to use development to tackle the challenges ahead. But development in the new era should be something that is based on the full, accurate, and faithful implementation of the new development philosophy. We must put the people. We must make development more balanced, coordinated, and inclusive, narrow urban, rural, and inter-regional gaps, and lay a solid foundation for common prosperity from the source. We must put the people first, guarantee people's equality of opportunities, rules, and rights in participating in development, jointly create social wealth, and jointly share development outcomes. It can be said that the process of advancing high-quality development is a process of addressing the main contradiction of unbalanced and inadequate development, raising the share of middle-income population, and optimizing distribution structure and promoting the all-round development of the people and advancing common prosperity. Since last year, faced with COVID-19, China led the pack to regain economic growth, completed the building of a moderately prosperous society in all respects as scheduled, completed the task of eradicating extreme poverty, and demonstrated the strong resilience of the Chinese economy. Economic fluctuations are short-term phenomena, and common prosperity is the long-term goal. The Chinese economy has found fundamentals, sufficient and strong space for development and position, and is well-positioned to underpin long-term sustained and sound development and provide strong material foundation for solid progress in realizing common prosperity. Second, Common prosperity required building an income distribution system of efficiency as well as fairness. Primary distribution plays a fundamental role in the formation of the final distribution layout. We must uphold the approach of work-based distribution as the mainstay and coexistence of multiple distribution methods and incentivize and mobilize the public to get rich through honest work and innovation and entrepreneurship. Primary distribution must be both efficient and be fair. We should regulate distribution order and control primary distribution gap as appropriate. Redistribution regime, raising the share of direct tax, and strengthening taxation supervision. At the same time, it is important to improve the social security system, enhance transfer payment system, step up support and assistance for low-incomers and regions with difficulties, better leverage institutions providing for basic needs, and strive toward the tips and bigger toward the middle. Redistribution should not ignore either. All in all, we should make institutional arrangements combining primary, secondary, and tertiary distribution systems. We need to divide the pie well and make the pie bigger. Third, common prosperity requires enterprises to do their own things well. Entrepreneurs have multiple ways and means to contribute to common prosperity. The most basic activities: treat employees and customers well, protect the lawful rights and interests of consumers, run their businesses well, and create wealth for the society. This is what running a business is all about, and also the right way to contribute. Businesses and entrepreneurs, to where they have the wish and capacity, actively participate in public welfare and charity endeavors, which effectively play better policy incentives of the country. China's public welfare and charity endeavor will see a huge progress. That said, charity and donation is voluntary. We must not opt for the Robin Hood approach, which could end up in a lose-lose scenario, and we should avoid forced donations, as that would run counter to the original.
CNA. Some of the reasons cited for this include debt and environmental hazards. And now we've also seen the US and Europe ask, with this regard, how has that changed the Belt?
亚洲新闻台最近一项针对中国“一带一路”倡议或债务和环境风险。目前，美国和欧洲也宣布了自己的基础设施计划。鉴于这些情况，“一带一路”倡议在中国总体发展规划中的角色是否发生了变化？
我们继续请韩文秀先生回答。
We'll have Mr. Han Wen-shou to answer this question.
谢谢你的提问。
Thank you.
习近平主席提出共建“一带一路”重大倡议，到现在呢已经有8年的时间。
8 years have passed since President Xi Jinping put forward the major Belt and Road Initiative. What has happened fully demonstrates that the BRI has become the world's most popular international public good and platform for international cooperation. As of 2020, China's cumulative trade with Belt and Road partner countries had exceeded $9.2 trillion, and investment stock in these countries was close to $140 billion. Major projects, such as the China-Laos Railway and Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail, are making steady progress, bringing tangible to the local people and demonstrating China's strong capacity and efficiency in engineering and construction. Belt and Road Cooperation has made important contributions to combating COVID-19 and reviving the global economy. By far, China has provided more than 1.7 billion doses of COVID vaccines to over 110 countries and international organizations, most of which are Belt and Road partner countries. Since 2020, the China-Europe freight trains have surged against the odds, running about 1,000 services on a monthly basis. A total of 25,000 cargo trains have shuttled between China and Europe, transporting over 2.3 million TEUs and carrying over 13 million articles of anti-epidemic supplies. The Belt and Road has truly become a Silk Road for health cooperation, providing strong safeguards for keeping the global supply chains smooth and ensuring basic livelihoods, and bring tangible benefits to the people in partner countries. Facing the combined impacts of the changes in the world and the pandemic, both unseen in a century, we need to resolutely promote high-quality development of Belt and Road cooperation. We should follow the principles of extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits, the philosophy of open, green, and clean cooperation, and a high-standard, people-centered, and sustainable approach. We should make sure that the Belt and Road development adapt to the new circumstances and brim with new vitality. First, we will lay greater emphasis on green Belt and Road development. We have actively carried out cooperation in areas such as green infrastructure, green energy, and green finance. For instance, in constructing the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway and the China-Laos Railway, animal passages have been specifically set aside to better protect the local eco-environment. Not long ago, President Xi Jinping announced at the UN General Assembly that China will not build new coal-fired power projects abroad. This is a major decision in response to climate change, demonstrating China's strong sense of responsibility. We will continue to pursue in-depth green Belt and Road development, encourage businesses to fulfill their social responsibilities, draw upon the environmental, social, and governance concept, build more high-standard eco and environmental-friendly projects, and pursue greener Belt and Road cooperation. Second, we will lay greater emphasis on the sustainable development of Belt and Road cooperation. We have worked with the international community to help low-income countries ease their debt burden and contributed more than anyone else to the G20 debt service suspension initiative and extension. We have published the Belt and Road Debt Sustainability Framework and will follow the debt sustainability principle, improve the policy system for debt risk prevention and control, and enhance the quality and performance of investment. Third, we will lay greater emphasis on inclusive development of the Belt and Road cooperation. Putting people's well-being first, we have launched as many as possible livelihood projects that can rapidly deliver tangible benefits to the people, with a view to increasing people's sense of benefit in partner countries. Fourth, we will lay greater emphasis on innovative development of BRI cooperation. We support Belt and Road countries in growing the digital economy, closing the digital divide, strengthening cooperation on innovation, and sharing the achievements of a new round of scientific and technological revolution and industrial transformation. BRI cooperation is not a solo performance of China. Rather, it is a chorus of all partner countries. Now, there is a huge shortfall in investment infrastructure across the world, especially in developing countries. We welcome all countries to participate in the Belt and Road Initiative, and we are open to any cooperation initiative that is conducive to greater connectivity and common development. We believe that Belt and Road cooperation fits in well with the reality of partner countries, enjoys unique strength and appeal, and is sure to have sound and sustained development and deliver more fruits of mutually beneficial cooperation. Thank you.
好，就第二排这位先生。
Thank you. From People's Daily.
党带领中国人民在中国特色社会主义道路上正不可逆转地走向中华民族伟大复兴。
Now, the Chinese nation is marching toward irreversible rejuvenation. How does the resolution assess and review?
我来回答这个问题。
Let me take your question.
100年来，我们党
Over the past 100 years, the party has rallied and led the people in a great endeavor, one that has contributed to an epic chapter in the millennia-long history of the Chinese nation.
也积累了
Valuable historical experience has been accumulated.
这些经验在党的19届六中全会审议通过的
In the resolution adopted at the plenary session, this is encapsulated in the following 10 aspects.
就是坚持
They are
党的领导，
upholding the party's leadership,
坚持人民至上，
putting the people first,
坚持理论创新，
advancing theoretical
坚
innovation,
持独立自主，
staying independent,
坚持中国道路，
following the Chinese path,
坚持胸怀天下，
maintaining a global vision,
坚持开拓创新，
breaking new ground,
坚持敢于斗争，
standing up for
坚持
ourselves,
统一战线，
promoting the united front.
坚持，它是系统
I think
完整
that these 10 aspects form a holistic system
统一体，
with each one of them being closely related to the others.
揭示了党和人民事业成功
They
的
have made
根
clear
本保
the
证，
fundamental guarantees of the party and the people's success.
党始终立于不败之地的
As well
力
as
量源泉，
the source of strength of why the party
深刻揭示了
has always
党始终掌握历史主动
been
的
the pioneer of history and why it has always stood at the forefront of history.
深刻揭示了党永葆先进性和
They
纯粹性
crystallized the advanced nature
始终走
and
在
integrity of the
时
party
代前列的根本
and
途径
how it manages to stand at the
所以这
forefront
些
of
宝
the
贵的
times.
经验，它是从我们党的历史中总结出来的，它不是从
This
天上掉下
experience
来的，
Does not come out of
它
nowhere,
不是从书本中抄下来
nor
的，
is it copied from others
它不是从别的国家照搬过来的，
or borrowed from others.
而是100年来
Rather, the experience
中国共
is
产
gained
党团结带领
through
人民
painstaking efforts and huge
历经千
sacrifices.
辛万苦，付出巨大代价而得到的。
It is gained
这些经验
through
包含着
dedication of the
成
party.
功和失败，
Deep into these
连
experience,
接着
we see both
鲜血
success
和汗
and
水，
failures. We see blood and sweat shed,
充满着智慧和
and
勇
we
气，
see wisdom and determination.
是历史发展的结果，
It
历史实践的
symbolizes
产物，历史奋
Historic
斗的结晶，
progress, marks
是
historic
历史规
endeavors,
律的昭
and
示。
reveals the laws of history.
所以这些经验弥足珍贵，
That is why such experience
它是我们党弥足珍贵
is
的精神
valuable
财富，
assets
它更是我们
that
党
inspire us
引领
to
中
move
国
forward.
未来的科学指引。
It is also a sound guidance that will lead
那
us
么怎么
into a
认识和
better
把
future.
握我们党百年
Now,
奋
coming
斗
back
的
to your
历史
question
经验
on
呢
how to assess
我
and
想
review the
在这里
historical
从
experience,
2个方面，
I would mainly share with you 2 points.
第一，决议对历
First,
史经验的总结是
The review of
力
historical
图把握历史
experience
大
in the
势
resolution is based on the trend of history and reveals the laws of it.
100年来，我们党团结带领
Over the
人
past
民
century,
浴血奋战
the，party led the people
百折不
in
挠，
fighting tough battles
创造了
with
新民
unyielding
主主义革
determination,
命的伟大
achieving
成就
great success in the new democratic revolution.
自力更生。
Under the
发奋
party's
图强
leadership, the people worked diligently for a strong China with a spirit of self-reliance, achieving great success in socialist revolution and development.
日益
The
进
people
取
has freed their minds
创
and
造了
forged
改
ahead,
革开放
achieving
和
great
社会主义
success
现代化
in
建设
reform and
的
opening
伟大
up,
成就。
as well as socialist modernization.
自信自强，
The party has led the people in bolstering self-confidence and self-reliance and in making innovations on the basis of what has worked in the past, thereby bringing great success for socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new
百年
era.
历史，我们党团结
In the past
带领
100
人
years,
民，创造了
the party has
中华
led the
民族
people
发展史、世界社会主义发
in
展
creating
史
miracles in the development of the Chinese nation development of socialism in the world, and progress of the entire humankind.
所以决议它是从历史的连续性
Focusing on both the continuum and different stages of history,
深刻总结了我们
the resolution revealed
100年来
the great journey
团结带领人民走过
the
的
party has been
伟大
through
历程，
in the past century
开辟的伟大道
and the
路，
great path it explored
深刻总结了
in leading the
党
Chinese
的各
people.
个历史时期
The resolution
所具有的
revealed
鲜明特
the
征。
distinctive
刚才的
features,
每一个时期的8个字，
the 8
它都
words
是那个
for
时期的鲜
that
明的
different
特征，
stage is
实现
the
了
distinctive
共同目
feature
标
of that particular
办成的历史大事，
phase of history.
深刻总结了党
It also revealed the
为
goals
实
and
现民
achievements
族
of
独
different
立、
stages
人
in
民解
history.
放、国家富强、人民
The
幸
resolution
福、
reviewed the great contributions the party has made
人类
in
文
national
明事业的
independence,
发展所做
people's
出的伟大
liberation,
贡献，
prosperity of the country, and progress of human civilization.
深刻总结了中国共产党领导的历史必然性
It。also looked into the historical
中国特色社会主
inevitability
义道
of the
路
party's leadership
它正确的
and the
唯一正确性
uniqueness and unique strength of socialism
深刻总
with
结
Chinese
了
characteristics.
新时期在实现中华民族伟大复兴
It
的历史
revealed
征程上
how important
和历史的时期
this
的
new era
最
we are
显
in
著
right
的
now
标志
is in the
这是新时
historical
代在
process
实
of
现中华民
national
族伟大复
rejuvenation,
兴的这个历史进程中，它具有一个什么样的
which
标志呢
means
什么样的地位呢？
how important or the importance of the new era
我认为决议给了
in this historical process. I think this
这就充
resolution
分地揭
has
示
given
了
us
我
an
们党
answer.
为什么能够成功？
All
过
these
去我们党为
have
什么能够
unveiled
成功？
the secrets of
未来
how the
我
party
们怎
succeeded
样才能继续成功？
and how we could continue along the
这就
path
是我们认识这
of
个问题的
success.
一把金钥匙，也是给了我们最科学
This is a
的
golden key, I would say,
答案，最
offering
准
us
确的答案，
a
揭
precise
示
and
了
accurate
这个问题
answer
的奥秘。
to the questions
所以
and
对
shed
我们
light
党
on the
总结的
secrets
这些
of the success
值得
of the
欣喜
party.
的历史经验，我们必须
All
倍
these
加珍惜，
Historical
长
experience
期坚持，
should be
并
carefully
在
preserved,
新时代的实践中
earnestly followed,
不断的丰富和
as
发
well
展。
as renewed and advanced in the new era.
第二，决议对历史经验的总结，
Second, the review of
是立
historical
足于
experience
统
in
一
the
全党的
resolution
思想，
aims to boost unity
奋
in
力开
thinking
创
among
未
party
来。
members and encourage them to
当
charge
今
the
世
course
界
ahead.
正经历100年未有之大变局，
In a world with changes unseen
中
in a
华民
century,
族伟大复兴处在关键时
we,
期。
the Chinese nation, have come to a
我
crucial
们党
stage
要
in
团
national
结带领
rejuvenation.
人民，在
The
新
party
时代
needs to
坚持
rally
发展
and lead
中国
the
特色社
people
会主义，
in upholding and developing
开创
socialism with
全
Chinese
面
characteristics
建设社
in the
会
new
主义
era
国家新局面，
and in opening up new prospects
需要我
in
们
building a modern
在对
socialist
历史
country.
的深入思考中，
This
认
requires
清
us
历史方位，
to truly understand where we stand
把
in
握历史
history
规律，
and grasp the laws of it.
教育引导全党
All of us party
牢
members
牢地记住
should bear in mind
中国共产党是什么，
what the party is
要干什么。
and
这个
what
根本
its
的问题。
mission is. These are issues of fundamental importance.
所以我们看到决议，它又是从历史的规律性和
So we
历史
see
的
that the
主动
resolution
性的
focuses
统一的
on
高
both
度，
the laws of history
它进行
and
深刻
how
的
we may
总结。
shape the course of it.
它深刻总结
From that
中华
standpoint,
民族伟大复兴的
the
战略
resolution
全局
analyzes how
和世界
the great
100年未有
rejuvenation of
之
the
大变
Chinese
局
nation and the
它
worldwide
的辩证
changes unseen in a century
互动的关
would
系
interact
和规
with
律，
each other.
深刻的总结进入新发展阶段，
It looks at the logic
of
ushering in new development stage, following the new development philosophy, and fostering a new development paradigm. It reviews the new requirements in the new era of the coordinated implementation of the five-sphere integrated plan and the four-pronged comprehensive strategy. It also explores the historical inevitability of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. The resolution therefore encourages the whole party to seize historic opportunities, forge ahead despite difficulties, and chart a new and better course of history that will give us a more noble historical course. Thank you. In the interest of time, one last question. Thank you. From the Jing magazine, the past decades have witnessed rapid growth of the Chinese economy, making it the second largest in the world. The world is trying to find out the secret to China's economic miracle. How do you see such a miracle, and what does it say for the future? Thank you for your question. The resolution adopted at the 6th plenary session has systematically reviewed the great achievements and historical experience of the party in the past century. It is a treasury with rich intellectual resources on the successful practice of revolutions, development, as well as reforms. Indeed, it does shed light on the secret of China's economic miracle of rapid growth. There are a number of commitments that have made the miracle possible. First, a commitment to development as the top priority. Since the third plenary session of the 11th CPC Central Committee, we have put economic development front and center and made it the top priority of the party in governing the country. This has helped lay a solid material foundation for the party's efforts to fulfill its mission. As socialism with Chinese characteristics enters a new era, development has been given new meanings. We should cast aside the old development path. Rather, we should be guided by the principle that green and lush mountains are invaluable assets. The new development philosophy should be fully delivered, a new development paradigm fostered, and high-quality development pursued. This is the top priority. Second, a commitment to deepening reform. We have built a socialist market economy where socialism and market economy is skillfully combined. This is a creative approach of the party. Reform has helped us break away from the rigidity of the planned economy, making the Chinese economy a really dynamic one, as well as unleashing and developing social productivity. Third, a commitment to opening up. Opening up, as opposed to closing the doors, has enabled China to harness both domestic and international markets. Deeply involved in economic globalization, China has advanced reforms and development by opening up, making greater contributions to global development and prosperity. We will adhere to the fundamental state policy of opening up, strike a balance between development and security, and between openness and security. We seek to pursue high-quality development by opening up at a higher standard. Fourth, a commitment to making innovation the main driver of development. Science and technology is the top contributor to productivity. This is something that we have been adhering to. We will hence adopt a strategy of innovation-driven development, strengthen protection of property rights and intellectual property rights, shore up technologies of national strategic importance, enhance the major role of companies in innovation, and step up efforts to pursue self-reliance and greater development in technologies. Fifth, a commitment to the two unswervings. To be specific, we will unswervingly consolidate and develop the public sector and unswervingly encourage, support, and guide the development of the non-public sector. We will establish a system with Chinese characteristics, champion entrepreneurship, build a cordial and clean relationship between government and businesses, and facilitate the healthy growth of not just the non-public sector, but also economic participants in the non-public sector. We will also endeavor to promote fair competition, mutual reinforcements, and common development of economies and market entities, regardless of their forms of ownership. Sixth, a commitment to better aligning an efficient market and well-functioning government. We need to properly manage the relationship between government and the market, give the market a decisive role in allocating resources while better leveraging the role of the government. We need to transform the functions of the government. On one hand, we should forestall absence of the government or unnecessary and unwarranted intervention. On the other hand, we should step up public services and market oversight, effectively handle cases such as monopoly or disorderly expansion of capital, and strive to foster a market-oriented, world-class business environment that is governed by law. Seventh, a commitment to pursuing progress while maintaining stability. This is an important principle of the party in its governance and an approach in economic work. We should pursue progress on the basis of stability and not hasten efforts for the sake of seeing results. For instance, hard lessons of the Great Leap Forward and collectivization movement in the 1950s must still be heeded. In our pursuit of carbon peak and carbon neutrality, as well as common prosperity, we should always ensure stability while making progress on that basis, one step forward at a time. Eighth, a commitment to the party's leadership, upholding the Central Committee's authority and its centralized, unified leadership is the fundamental guarantee of our work. We need to strengthen the party's overall leadership and economic work, seek truth from facts, work in line with law of the economics, and unleash the proactiveness, agency, and creativity of all elements. We need to be systemic and more coordinated, focus on the principal contradictions, leverage the strategic guiding role of planning, and harness the advantages of the socialist system, which enable us to get things done by mobilizing resources. All these are the things we've learned in the past. They also inspire us to chart a course of the future. In face of the new missions in the new era, we, under the leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, should stay committed to and make good use of what we've learned in the past, and that will enable the giant ship of the Chinese economy steadily sail far ahead, creating new miracles of development. Thank you. Thank you. And I would like to thank all journalists. This would be the end of today's press conference. Thank you.